Yum Brands dropped its second quarter earnings this morning, seeing a miss on revenue. The fast food corporation saw worldwide system sales grow 3%, with KFC boosting sales, especially in China. Let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Brooke DiPalma to break down the earnings. Brooke, please.
That's right, well, earnings came out around 7:15 this morning. Then we heard from them around 8:15. And certainly it was a call that covered a lot. I mean, inflation, consumer behavior, as well as pricing power and innovation were just some of the highlights of the call. Of course, they did miss revenue estimates despite KFC seeing same-store sales higher. Taco Bell, Pizza Hut did miss same-store sales this past quarter. But the big story here, KFC seeing same-store sales move higher at 13%, largely boosted by that China reopening. But taking a closer look at what exactly was mentioned in the call, we did see record digital sales of $7 billion this past quarter, with digital mix exceeding 45%. Across all four brands, our digital sales were up nearly 30% year over year. In addition to that, we are seeing a different consumer behavior when it comes to how exactly they play with digital. Taco Bell here in the U.S., now 100% of locations now have kiosks. And at Habit Burger Grill, one of their smaller businesses, they noted that with the rollout of kiosks now in 60% of their stores, an average kiosk sees about 10% higher checks compared with front counter sales. They also said it was yet another proof point of the value from converting to digital sales. But one of my favorites here, they did weigh in on KFC nuggets. They said that over 100 million were sold in the first eight weeks. They said this proves that product innovation is met with positive consumer reaction. Of course, we got a first look at those last year. They do tend to skew to a Gen Z younger audience, which is awesome there as they look to really engage the next generation. And unit growth was a big story on the earnings call. They did add more than 1,000 new units in the second quarter. And CEO David Gibbs really saying here on the call that in the last 2.5 years, they added 10,000 new stores to the Yum system, and that makes up about 20% of our stores. So that's necessarily they built 20% more stores in the last 2.5 years. So lots of momentum this past quarter. Shares now slightly up.
Let me ask you then, because I know the CEO was on the call giving some insight about not only inflation, but you're talking about their expansion in locations. Where are they gaining market share?
Yeah, well, really, they're gaining market share here from a lower income audience. On the call, they gave some insight that some of those pandemic trends that they were seeing, like bigger party sizes, are now transferring back to pre-pandemic, trends, like more individual meal occasions and party sizes going back down. But the CEO, David Gibbs, did weigh in on the call about how value is a key strategy here and how it's gaining market share from that. Take a listen.
This is an environment where we can succeed. Value is rising in importance, but we have solutions and in many ways are leaders with our brands. You know, KFC for U.S., for example, in the quarter, their most growth was seen in their low-income consumers because they had always-on value for the quarter, as I mentioned in my prepared remarks. So we can win in this environment in developed markets.
Always on value. That was KFC's key strategy to gain market share as consumers look to ultimately save when dining out or look to change exactly where they're looking to dine out. But another bright spot of this past quarter they mentioned in the call is they said it's a stable, positive environment, and they think that inflation peaked in most markets here in the U.S. especially. So lots of momentum. My overall vibe of the call, I would say it was fine. I said the momentum's there, but they did miss at Taco Bell and Pizza Hut on same-store sales. So I ultimately think lots more, outlook to the second half of this year, how exactly consumer behavior continues to change, but ultimately positive momentum going into the back half.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of good news on the inflation front. Thank you for that. Yahoo Finance's Brooke DiPalma.